Hello, I'm Nick Park from Evangelical Alliance Ireland, and this is our weekly message. It's Friday, but Sunday's coming. So the Taoiseach resigned. Lots of the journalists, lots of the politicians said it took them by surprise. I was in a meeting at the time with a couple of archbishops and a few other church leaders, and everybody there seemed to be taken by surprise as well. Now, of course, it's looking highly likely that Simon Harris is going to succeed him as party leader of Fine Gael and also as Taoiseach. And to be honest, it's out of the frying pan into the fire as far as I'm concerned. Simon Harris, of course, when it came to the pro-life rights of children, he promised to protect them, and then when he was in office, headed in a totally different direction when it came to championing the introduction of abortion in Ireland. However, we must pray for those in authority, and that's what we have to do. So we will pray for those who will make this decision. Now, much more serious in my view than who is Taoiseach is a committee that was meeting about assisted suicide and has come back recommending, they couldn't reach a unanimous decision, but a majority report has recommended legislating for assisted suicide in certain cases. EAI will be issuing a statement on this and a press release in due course. I would just say, for me personally, speaking personally now, I think this is a totally backward step. I pray that this legislation will not come to pass. To be honest, we have a suicide problem here in Ireland. And now to be turning around and saying, well, in some cases, suicide is okay, is in my view, totally sending the wrong message. You know, one of the whole problems with our suicide epidemic is so many young people know other young people that have committed suicide, that suicide is no longer considered unthinkable, because the more it happens around you, the more thinkable it becomes as an option. And while we, of course, we should certainly empathize and sympathize with those who are suffering from terrible physical conditions and terminal illnesses and their loved ones, nevertheless, anything like this that degrades our respect for the sanctity of life is greatly to be regretted. And we are familiar with the fact that as this kind of legislation has been shown again and again, when you start bringing it in under very limited conditions, that becomes the thin end of the wedge for it's increased accessibility more and more. So I believe as a Christian that life is sacred. It is from God. Sometimes life is hard. Sometimes it involves suffering. But I do believe that life still is precious and should be cherished and is a gift from God, and to legislate for allowing assisted suicide is a grave mistake. The College of Psychiatrists of Ireland have also come to a similar conclusion. They've said that the recommendations to introduce both assisted suicide and euthanasia for people will have significant ramifications for palliative care and end-of-life care in Ireland, and for the most vulnerable in our society. And the College of Psychiatrists of Ireland represents 1,300 professional psychiatrists and trainee psychiatrists across the country. And the consultant liaison psychiatrist, Professor Siobhan McHale, said that this proposed legislation will undermine Irish society's strong focus on suicide prevention policy. She went on to say, any terminal diagnosis is by its nature deeply upsetting and can often lead to a patient experiencing a wish to die in the course of the associated shock and grief. The college believes that we can do better in providing compassionate care to those who are dying than to introduce assisted suicide and euthanasia in Ireland. But one bit of good news in the midst of all this other stuff that's going on is you will remember the What's the Story campaign, the outreach campaign with national advertising that took place in the autumn of 2022. Well, What's the Story is back. There's going to be Patrick's Story. Leading up to St. Patrick's Day next year, 2025, there will be national advertising, there will be testimony videos, people sharing their story. There will be a host of materials to help churches to be able to capitalize on the opportunity of St. Patrick's Day next year to share the gospel meaningfully with more people. And if you would like a link to where you can register for Patrick's Story, for What's the Story for Patrick's Day 2025, then please send an email to me, nick@evangelical.ie, and I will send you a link so how you can register for that. We believe that this is another great opportunity to get the gospel out to more and more people in Ireland, because we have a great story. The story of Jesus Christ is the most wonderful story in the world. We all have our own individual story of how that has impacted upon us, and Patrick's story of his experience of Jesus Christ, of course, transformed the Irish nation. And we invite you to join us in praying and working to transform this nation once again. So that's What's the Story, Patrick's Story. Send an email to me, nick@evangelical.ie, and I'll send you the link where you can find out more about that. It might be Friday, but Sunday's coming.